Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, exec getting angry because she has been receiving calls from our critical situation alerting system over the past week, but she's on any critsit or on-call teams. Hey, your key is burning, or is it? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Exec getting angry because she has been receiving calls from our critical situation alerting system over the past week, but she's on any critsit or on-call teams. This is one of the most absurdly hilarious things I've seen at my current job. A high-level marketing exec, very high in the company, but not at the VP level, or we wouldn't be dealing with her directly, is understandably very angry because she's getting calls at all hours on her mobile from our critsit system that alerts on-call engineers of failure/emergencies in the hardware/software/infrastructure. There are a couple of hundred teams involved, and probably 1,000 or 2 engineers in the on-call system. I'm in there, but in 5 years have only been called twice, and once was an area of business I'm not part of. Though I did respond and collected some sweet overtime. She is not one of the people who is on call. Hence, angry and very much WTFFY. She has received a bunch of text-to-speech voicemails all sounding very urgent, but they triggered her well-developed "this is not legit, I should notify security detectors." The company from time to time, and without announcement, sends phishing emails to different groups to find out who might fall for one. Awareness of the issue is above average here, I would say. We went round and round over this. It looks an awful lot like a phishing attack. The grammar and spelling are characteristic of a well-known region of the world, not Nigeria, where a lot of suspect emails come from. It says it's reporting a problem with a particularly popular X.500 database, also a product of the company, but the team it references doesn't exist. $X500 prod, where $X500 is the name of the popular database system, and production is a common name for an instance of said database product. We just don't have an instance name that. It would be some kinda sophisticated attack that knows what critsit alerting system we use, and thinks it knows which database system we use internally, but gets the instance name wrong and targets someone whose technical knowledge would probably fit on a single glossy brochure for whichever products she works with in marketing. It took us days to find out who was responsible for the alerting system. It took a further 2 days to convince them to help us find the target's name somewhere in the on-call lists in the system. They kept insisting that it was some kind of phishing or social engineering attack, and not coming from our system. Anyway, they relented and searched for her name and/or phone number. Nope. Her name and her phone number are not anywhere in the system. The "this is an attack" faction is gaining support. We can see that these calls originated from outside our telephone network. But that doesn't help. The exit point for the alerting system is external for obvious reasons. You can't report a problem with the phone system if you have to use the phone system to report it. Then I see an email: why does $team name have $phone number as their on-call number? I look at $phone number and see that it is our company's front door main corporate phone number. $team name is the name of the team that manages the critsit alerting system. Epiphanies and revelations abound. It turns out that someone set the on-call number for a test environment of the alerting system to our corporate main line. You know. For testing, someone is from a part of the world where the characteristic grammatical mistakes often found in phishes and spams are common. They reproduced the text of the alerts from memory. There's no shame or shade intended here. English is a very difficult language, and this part of the world has had English as part of its elementary school curriculum for centuries. Long enough to have developed a peculiar and characteristic set of grammatical inconsistencies. In many parts of this region, different dialects of the local language are difficult for people of other dialects to understand, so English is the lingua franca for many of these fine folk. Yes, I did that on purpose because it's fun to tease the French. Phone number is answered by a sophisticated phone menu system that accepts voice as well as dial pad entry. Apparently, it was interpreting the recorded message from our alerting system as, somehow, please direct this call to $person, the now substantially less angry marketing exec. Update, nothing too major, but interesting to me. The first proposed attempt at mitigation was to remove the affected user from the dial by name system. It sounds great at first, but it's not like the IVR system is going to interpret the message as a specific request to call the specific person. Somehow, the message appears to be activating the dial by name feature, which is likely doing some kind of best fit matching among possible candidates. If she is opted out of the DBN system, it will probably just redirect the firehose at someone else. Still, this is the prevailing plan on the basis that at least she won't receive these calls anymore. The opt-out list is typically for senior leadership team executives, some of whose names might be commonly known among cranks, weirdos and angry game console users, to the extent that those are distinct groups. The user account that has the front door main corporate phone number as its on-call number is apparently a critical internal role that can't be edited or removed by someone who does not have an owner role. Administrator roles aren't good enough, I'm an admin, but only for the team I work for, and systems engineer roles aren't good enough. We don't yet know who the owner is. As might be guessed from the fact that we haven't shut this off yet and can't change the number it is dialing, it turns out that this is in the production environment of the CRITSIT alerting system. The number got set by someone to test something relatively minor, not knowing that the setting was write once edit nobody, a less commonly used form of storage than write once read many, or the less well-known but infamous WOM PDF warning. Almost predictably, and implied by update number 1 above, there are now people saying they recall in the past hearing about people who get mysterious nighttime phone calls from this system. In thinking about how one blind unintelligent system can consistently cause a completely unrelated blind unintelligent system to do something seemingly coherent and intelligible, it seems obvious. We're probably lucky that this one instance happened to hit the same person repeatedly, because this problem most likely has existed in some form or another since we switched over to this particular brand of ticketing system. An observation that just occurred to me: one blind unintelligent system can consistently cause a completely unrelated blind unintelligent system to do something seemingly coherent and intelligible is terrifying. This is not like the Andromeda strain where a critical message is missed because a dead fly fell into a computer printer, resulting in the message not getting printed. This is the architecture and construction of a building, creating a condition where flies die in some controlled manner, and then fall in a consistent stream of dead flies into a printer, coincidentally time-aligned with the printer printing a critical message, repeatedly. In seriousness though, I would consider it a design flaw that this is even possible. Sure, make it so that a recording could intentionally trigger transfer to a specific number. But for a simulated human voice reading an arbitrary pre-written statement that has nothing to do with "please connect me to extension 27B6, it should always fail. Hey, your key is burning, or is it? The tale from you/Whitehack some days ago reminded me of a lit funny/stupid story. In the time I still was a silly and young trainee, I also used to work with fire alarm systems. Short break on how these systems are constructed. There is one main terminal where more sub-terminals can be added to. Each terminal can handle multiple loops. These loops connect the fire/smoke detectors and some other things. You can add multiple detectors in one group and give every detector an ID in this group. So if one detector goes of, the terminal shows the group number and the ID of the detector. For example, 5/3 would mean group 5, detector 3. So simple. Of course, the group numbers are unique over the complete system. The fire department can look on plans of the building where exactly these detector sits, and how to get there as fast as possible. For each group exists a separate plan. Just to give you some ground information on this. Then there are some other things which are called lines, sys-internal. For example, the keyboard, the display, or the key switch. So whenever one of these is defective, you can see error line 100, key switch, I think, not exactly sure if this was the key or the keyboard. Back to the story. We were working at a bigger complex with multiple buildings. Each building had his own sub-terminal which then would send all data to the main terminal. Nothing special there. The reason for our mission was a normal routine check. These are once a quarter year per system. While testing some of the detectors, we found one who was malfunctioning. So we changed this one and started to reprogram the system for the new detector. While these programming, the sub-terminal we were working on crashed and did a warm startup. For an unknown reason, the terminal created an alarm while starting new. Fire line 100. Wait, what? Yeah, the system thought the key switch or keyboard, as said I am not sure anymore, was on fire. Very strange, especially because we were standing right in front of that terminal. I can definitely tell you the key wasn't even warm. And there is no way that the terminal could check the key for fire. Even if the key would be burning, there is no way to check this. But that isn't the worst part. The sub-terminal pushed the alarm to the main terminal as it should. But the main terminal pushed the alarm to other sub-terminals, which should not happen. So other sub-terminals in other buildings started to evacuate the buildings. Luckily, we had deactivated the unit for sending the alarm to the fire department. This is normal because you don't want to have the fire department there every time you check a detector. You test these by activating these with a smoke aerosol. So we were good at this. Because something was making trouble in the system, we had to kill all sub-terminals, 8 buildings, 8 systems plus the main terminal, by pulling the power on each. After killing all terminals, we could restart the complete system. This was a very stressful and long day. Because I changed departments shortly after that, I don't know if they ever found the bug causing this.